All right, this one should be quick. Jurassic, and you cued me in on this. I totally forgot to put it in the notes, but Jurassic World Dominion has a runtime, so I want to talk to you about that a little bit here. 2 hours 26 minutes. What were your first thoughts when that popped up? Were you excited? Were you like, I don't know? What do you think?
So like, here's the thing. My gut reaction is like, okay, they're gonna let this one breathe a little bit, because I did not think Dominion breathed. No, I did not think Fallen Kingdom breathed. Like, it just was go, 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 until you got to like a weird mansion for the last hour and a half, and it was like, but like I just felt like the beginning of Fallen Kingdom was like really quick, like. It was like, hey, we're gonna do the Lost World in half an hour, and then, but here's the thing: is like I like this idea of a 2 hour 26 Jurassic movie, except for like we've heard from Sam Neill, and then I heard from somebody. It was like they shot enough footage to like really make this 2 movies.
Yeah,
and so at first I'm like I'm excited, but then I'm like, oh, they needed 2 hours and 26 minutes because this still is going to like, this movie's still going to move at a pace that is like, to me, unwelcome pace. And I'm just now for an extra half hour. But whatever, like if this is the last one for the next 5 years, like I'm cool with it. I don't really have like too much to say other than like, I hope it's utilized well. And based on that trailer, like, dude, that first trailer that we saw, how is this movie not 2.5 hours?
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it time and time again that there are so many things that need to be done in this movie, in order to make it successful. I'm so happy that it's 2 hours and 26 minutes. I mean, a bunch of that's going to be credits and things, but that's a decent portion above that. 2 hours, 4, 5, 6 minute movie that they typically are. So that's exciting. I'm very excited for that. That's good. But yeah, I will always wonder what this could have looked like as 2 films or the 6 hour film, which I think that was just hyperbole or whatever. But yeah,
probably. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm happy with this. So hopefully it feels good. Hopefully it doesn't feel too rushed or anything. I still think they're going to have to move at a pretty hefty pace in order to tell the full story here. So we'll see. We'll see. But 2 hours 26 minutes is very exciting for me. Any final thoughts on that portion there?
No, I think that's a perfect amount of time to talk about a runtime.
All right, so the featurette came out the other day. We got this muted, right? Yeah, okay. And it was a pretty great featurette. It featured, some stuff on the legacy of the films, even up to Jurassic World, and then it featured a lot of stuff with the legacy portions. Oh, that looks terrible. Of these films, like the original characters coming back and stuff like that. This is just going to be super blurry, every one of these pictures. But I love this, and it got me hyped again. There was basically like a mini trailer at the end of it, which was great. It showed a lot of new stuff. New different looks, but like I don't think it revealed a lot. Like I feel like maybe there's some dots you can connect here. Every picture that I land on in the video portion of this is literally like a transition scene. So it shows like 2 scenes in one. Here we go. We got a good shot here. There are a few things that are interesting, like this shot in particular. At first you're just like, oh, this is just the core group here. What's going on? And then you realize that Owen has a dinosaur on his back. So Yep, Owen's got the dinosaur on his back. He's got Beta on his back.
Awesome. Cool, man. I mean,
so there are a lot of things you can, I think, infer from this storyline. We actually saw in the trailer itself that Beta was probably caught in a trap. So yeah, I don't know, how did Beta get here? That'll be interesting to find out. But Beta on the back of Owen there, you can see the little dinosaur head. tied. And then we see there was I don't know if you saw that TV spot. Did you see that TV spot that came out the other day with the Carnotaurus and the Allosaurus facing off against each other, and then Owen's in the middle, like putting his arms up, and there's a bunch of Ian Malcolm in this. You didn't see this?
No, I haven't seen this.
Oh,
no, I haven't
gosh.
seen this.
Oh, it's so good. And that's in the trailer or whatever. Ian Malcolm's like, is that a dinosaur on your back? And Owen's like, yeah. What? Like, yeah, of course.
That's awesome.
So it's like very Ian Malcolm. It feels very Lost World Ian Malcolm to me. So yeah, definitely go watch that. I'm not gonna play it here, but I love that, like, everybody's concerned, like everybody's looking hard at something, but like Ian's just like, yeah, I'm just chilling here with my homies, just hanging out with my friends. And
what is Stan Neill looking at?
Like, what is over there? I don't know. I've got issues with like a lot of the sight lines and a lot of these images and things that they've shown off. I feel like nobody is looking in the right way, or they're looking at different directions. It's all very weird. But let's see what else there is real quick. I love this shot. I missed it, but it was like Sam Neill. Let's see. The best thing that I think came from this, and I think everybody can agree, is the Giganotosaurus at the very end. And as soon as this shot comes out, I mean, look at the atmosphere, the tone of this. It looks incredible. I cannot wait to see this in person. Oh, well, not in person, but like on a screen.
Yeah.
But as soon as you see this, you're like, oh my God, that's an animatronic. Like, you know it right away. This is talking about the legacy. It showed the T-Rex animatronic a bunch of times, and then it caps it off with showing you where that legacy has gone, and it's finally in full form here with the Giganotosaurus, full, like, well, full to a certain extent. I don't know how big it actually is, but an awesome, amazing animatronic here. That is very exciting.
It's cool. Don't get me wrong, but like I do feel like whenever these animatronics wind up on screen for a little longer than like 30 frames, you're like, oh, it's an animatronic. Whereas like I don't know. I guess my mentality is kind of switched. Whereas like 10 years ago, I might have been like, oh, that's CG. Oh, that's CG. Oh, that's CG. But now I'm just like, oh, that's an animatronic. And like that, whenever I see an animatronic, like it takes me out. Like I think I was so amped up for the Dominion trailer that like when that animatronic Dilophosaur pops up, it like took me out of it. I was like, oh, it looks fake. But like,
yeah,
this looks fine. It looks like a slow lumbering dinosaur. So like, who knows? I mean, it definitely is very reminiscent of the T-Rex roaring on the paddock, facing Grant when he's got the flare. So yeah, I mean, it's cool. I'm excited to see big animatronics, but I hope they look and I hope they feel good, because like the Spinosaurus did not feel like a dinosaur. It felt like an animatronic. Like I think 3 is like where animatronics really started falling apart, because it just, that Spinosaurus felt so fake. Like it was beyond excusable. Like in my opinion, like how
I don't
fake
think it was a
felt.
Spinosaurus though. I think it was more so the issue with how it was filmed.
Well,
And
yeah, but that's
yeah. I mean, it all comes down to that.
I mean,
I
we could
trust,
sit
I
like
trust Colin here with like how things will be filmed and look. But Jurassic Park 3 has issues, in so many quadrants, and I think it was very clear from the start that the filming on that was just like subpar.
Oh,
and sorry, Joe Johnston. I love Joe Johnston and all the movies he's done, but like that moment in particular just looked real bad. Like if it was other parts, it would have been great. But
they were definitely asking too much of that robot. Like the parts that really stick out to me are like not even so much what's in the water, because I think there's so many other things going on in Jurassic Park 3 when it's in the water, but like when it's like tearing apart the plane and it's like sticking its nose in and it's clamped, like it just, I'm like, why is this here? Like this is.
I mean, the animatronic is beautiful. Like the animatronic is great.
No, it's
I don't
stunning,
think
but the animation of it, the movement of it, the way it was filmed, it was like,
it was something I think about like that era. That was 2001. I feel like everybody's like, we got to do some sort of weird, like shaky cam, like in order to like sell the effect. Jurassic Park never, or The Lost World never did anything like that. But then Jurassic Park 3 comes around and it's like, oh, the thing is roaring at me. Let me go like this with the camera. Like, it's just like, it looks terrible. And I know, like, I've said it many times, but from the moment that aired on like whatever it was, Jay Leno or something like that, I was like, oh no. Oh no, this looks bad. It was literally that scene, and I was like, this is bad. But animatronics throughout the rest of the movie look great, I think. It's just that one scene. It's kind of like in Jurassic World, how like after the battle, the T-Rex is like right there in the camera, and that's CG, and it looks terrible. So there's moments that look great, and then there's moments that look terrible. But
I'm not saying CG is flawless. Like, look, I think the CG in Jurassic Park, especially now, like stands out, and you can be like, oh, CG. Like, for sure. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, look, I keep saying Colin proved me wrong, and like every week I feel like every month I feel like I'm on here where I'm like, yeah, Colin proved me wrong on this. This is going to be great. I thought this was going to be stupid, but Colin proved me wrong. Like, this looks cool. So, like, I think this shot looks cool. Prove me wrong in 2.5 hours that this animatronic Giganotosaurus was worth it,
Yeah. I think it will be. It does look so good. And like the vibrations on like around the nose area, it's just like incredible. It looks so good.
So far, it looks nowhere near as bad as the Spinosaurus. Which, let me ask you a question. I saw somebody, and I couldn't tell if it was. I just like briefly looked at it.
I know what you're gonna say. I think.
Is there a Spinosaurus in this movie?
I mean, who knows? It's to be foreseen, I guess. But there was like, I don't know where it came from, whether it was like a TV spot or something like that, or this, I don't remember. But there was a sequence where like Kayla Watts is looking through like glass or something, and in the glass you see something moving towards the window. Or I don't know. I didn't see it. I don't think it. I think it was like real, like matrixing of the eye. I mean, I feel like people are like, they want to see what they want to see.
Sure.
But I don't, I didn't see it. Like, I saw the outline that the person drew in the video that I watched, but I'm like, I don't see how that equates to that outline that they drew. So
I'm just like, is the end of this movie the T-Rex and the Spinosaurus like doing the bro fist grab? Like,
it's like this grudge match, like Superman versus Batman, and it's just at the end we're like, we got to come together here. We know we've had some differences in the past, but
this Giganotosaurus, it's a threat to our entire world.
Which, by the way, I love Batman versus Superman. So.
Yeah, oh, dude, yeah. If you don't like that movie, what's wrong with you? The only thing I don't want to happen at the end of this movie, I don't want any of the big predators to die. Like, if we're heading into a Jurassic World at the end of this movie, I think these alpha predators, or whatever they're considered, I don't know science, but like whatever these animals are considered, I hope they do kind of like walk away in like a Kong versus Godzilla kind of way, where it's like, based on the not the trailer, what was that, not the prequel, what was the thing that they released that looked like a the prologue? I feel like we're like, based on the prologue, I feel like Dominion is going to be like the lead up to the grudge match where like the T-Rex beats the Giganotosaurus, but like, yeah, I don't really want that. Like,
okay,
keep going. Wow. Like, just keep adding giant predators to this world that we live in. Like, keep doing it.
You just want it to be like the T-Rex to be like, yo, stay on that side of the fence and we're good. Like, just stay over there.
Yeah, like, I don't know. It doesn't need to be as like, I don't think it needs to be as cheesy as Godzilla vs. Kong, where like they come to like an agreement or something. But if the T-Rex wants to like push the Giganotosaurus like off a sloping cliff or something, and then we see the Giganotosaurus like
at the bottom
get upset and yeah, like we just like,
I can't get back up.
You know,
I guess the fight
pushes him off the cliff, and then like the Giganotosaurus like gets up and looks up, and then like the T-Rex roars and Giganotosaurus like walks away.
The
Like,
T-Rex is like, I've got the high ground. And, and then the Giganotosaurus loses its legs, and then it becomes Darth Vader. It's going to be interesting.
I don't know. Like, the Rex cannot
I see what you mean,
be this. The Rex cannot possibly be the only giant theropod running around the United States at this stage. Like, we need to get to a Jurassic World.
Well, yeah, I mean, surprisingly, the Therizinosaurus is taller than a T-Rex. My mind was blown. I was like, are you kidding me? I did not realize it was going to be that big. And I mean, based off the video, the teasers and trailers and stuff, the Carnotaurus and the Allosaurus are like massive now. So there's some big ones out there, but I would love if by chance like one of these dinosaurs died at the end, I'll say the T-Rex. If the T-Rex wins the battle or something, maybe both of them die. I would like a teaser at the end of the movie or mid credits or something to just be like showing different eggs hatching around the world and just showing that like, hey, life is flourishing. And you see a baby T-Rex born, or like you see like, a Giganotosaurus baby born or something like that. It could be interesting to see like eggs flourishing around the world and then showing that, hey, this isn't over. We've got plenty of stories to tell.
I mean, you're getting a little too close to like Godzilla 98 for me, but okay.
That's what I was going to say. We should go to Madison Square Garden in New York and just like inside there's just so many eggs, that would be perfect. Great movie. But I don't, not too much else I feel like is, I mean, this featurette was fantastic. It showed a lot of, new looks and things.
Dude,
but
what's that thing that Woo's got on his desk? That giant bug thing? It's disgusting.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, they are showing up a lot in different things. And I mean, we kind of know what it is. We've seen, I don't know if it's in here, but there was, we did see a big swarm in the trailer, right? So could it be a swarm? Oh, and also, let me bring it up here if I can. Where was that in the video? Oh, come on, Laura. I know she does a interview.
Oh,
somewhere.
Dude, that Apatosaurus in the lake, it's so cool.
That's Dreadnoughtus. It's just
is that the Dreadnoughtus?
This is one of those which was interesting. It was a stock like photo or whatever it was of this amazing background, and then layered on is fog and like a helicopter-y thing in the background and bugs flying around or whatever, and then obviously the Dreadnoughtus it plopped in the middle. But like that's two things so far. We've gotten at least a stock image here of this scene, and we've gotten the stock footage of like the horses running in the open field, and then they added in a bunch of Parasaurolophus. So interesting that like two things are why can I not get this
stock photos?
It literally like won't stop on the right moment. But there is a moment. We're gonna get the video taken down.
Oh, is that what happens? Really?
Yeah.
Okay, don't do it then.
Oh, it's too late now. Oh my gosh, play. All right, there. All right, so this shot here, you can see that Ellie is Laura Dern is doing an interview. This is not from the movie, but she's in a lab type setting, and there's interestingly like wheat or something like that, like all spread around here. Like there's different plant sections on the side of her,
grasshopper
and these giant locusty things here, which it was funny. The other day, some Instagram account was sharing these massive bugs that look something like these, whatever these are. And I forget what they were, but it made this noise that was so horrifying. And it was just like, I'll see if I can bring it up here while we're talking, but it was so incredibly loud and scary. And I sent it to a friend of mine, and the thing he like followed it up with was like, dude, that's something that's like straight out of JP, and meaning Jurassic Park. And I was like, dude, that's funny you say that. Here's this Oh, I hit the wrong button. Come on.
No, thank you.
No,
No.
like it just sounds like just like this
Yeah.
weapon going off or something like that. It's just like, imagine like a swarm. I don't know. I guess maybe it makes that noise when it flies or something, or maybe not. But imagine like a swarm of something like that is just massive. And this is like, this guy's holding this in his hand. It is huge, which those things in behind her are even bigger. So, imagine how scary a bug is, like that big, first off. And then,
dude,
I can't swarms of them.
I can't wait to figure out I can't wait to see what's going on in the world. Like,
yeah.
This seems to me like the first time we're getting introduced to something that it's like dinosaurs they're still the A plot, but there's like also a B plot happening. Whereas like I feel like every Jurassic Park movie, it's been like, no, it's just dinosaurs are the plot. That's it. Like that's what's going on. You're running from dinosaurs. This seems to have something that's like there's an actual consequence now to having dinosaurs, and I wish we would have gotten there sooner. I'm starting to think that like Dominion or Fallen Kingdom almost could have like started with an auction, and I feel like I mean I don't know. Like I almost think that like almost all of Fallen Kingdom could have been like a paragraph at the beginning of the film. Like,
the variation of love or hate for this movie is just so fascinating to me. Like, it's wild to hear different people's takes on how bad the movie is or how good the movie is. Like,
it's not even like I think it's like bad. Like, I mean, I think anybody who listens consistently knows it's not my favorite one, but like I don't think it's bad. I just think like we're at Dominion, and I like hearing like, oh, Dominion could have been 2 movies, and like they shot like 6 hours worth of footage, and yeah, it's like, man, I kind of now that I see like how cool I think like where Colin wanted to take us, I kind of wish we would have gotten there sooner, which leads me into this like I don't know if Fallen Kingdom needed to be the not the Sorna. I don't know if Fallen Kingdom needed to be the Nublar volcano thing. Like,
yeah, it does definitely feel like 2 different things. I understand that, but I wasn't meaning to put that on you as far as hating the movie.
No, sure, yeah.
I've heard that from plenty of people, but yeah, it reminds me, and we maybe talked about this at some point, but like this whole thing with Spider-Man No Way Home, it's like at one point, like I feel like I've heard that the movie was going to be something else and be more of a lead-in to what it became, but like Toby and Andrew are around, so like let's utilize them now. But you could see a version of that movie where like they actually do come to terms with what happened in the previous movie instead of just being like, oh yeah, it's over in one line in the movie. And apparently Doctor Strange would have come before, without the pandemic happening. That I think that movie was slated to come out first. So it's like, what in the world would that universe have looked like if things came out differently? And I feel that way with Jurassic, where it's like, what if these movies came out like, the way they maybe initially had planned to make them, or whatever, and maybe they didn't get the approval from the studio or something. It's fascinating to think about all these untold stories that are out there, for different franchises.
Well, I can't say anything about that. So
that's fine. That's fine. All right, so I think that's enough for the featurette. Let's move on to a few tweets here from Colin having to do with this movie, Jurassic World Dominion. So Colin tweeted, "It's a problem, and there's North American dinosaur sightings out there." So we've got a bunch of different sightings. Can I make this any bigger? No. We've got. Oh, this is going to be terrible, isn't it? We've got a lot of sightings on the west coast to the middle of the country. Nothing on the east coast. So no dinosaurs here where I'm at.
Nothing in Michigan. What's in Oklahoma? What do I got to worry about here in Oklahoma? Pteranodons? That's it?
Uh,
But
I don't even know where
Oklahoma,
it
right
is, man.
above Texas. Right
Oh
above
yeah, yeah,
Texas.
okay. It's
Yeah.
the
So I got to worry about
Panhandle one.
Pteranodons.
Yeah, you got to worry
My
about them.
home
Yeah,
state, my home state of Michigan, we're still good there.
you're good. Yep.
I mean, I don't I don't hate this. I think it's cool he shared this.
No, no, no.
I still wish we were
Nothing to hate
like I
about it.
wish we were further along. Like what like I wish we were still further along than this.
Yeah, I mean, I like that there's different, centralized locations. This is almost looks like a map of like, hey, where are the COVID hotspots? You've got big hotspots in
Sure.
different areas, but California, Nevada, Oregon, Utah, and they've got like some pretty big. Idaho, I guess, has kind of bordering a few different places. So there's a lot of big hotspots out there, and then some littler ones. And like the pteranodon ones, I feel like that's like, hey, maybe that was like one sighting of a pteranodon or something like that.
Yeah.
The Bering Sea has the Mosasaurus over there on the corner near Alaska, it shows. So there's a lot. We've got Velociraptor, T-Rex, Stegosaurus, Triceratops, Parasaurolophus, Apatosaurus, Ankylosaurus, Allosaurus, Baryonyx, Carnotaurus, Gallimimus, Mosasaurus, Compsognathus, Nasutoceratops, Sticky Moloch, Pteranodon. Yeah, so that's
Is
pretty cool. But
there
nothing
is there
past
anything
Illinois.
is there anything saying that do we know for a fact that this movie that we're gonna like so we've seen the trailer and right like at the end of the trailer everyone's saying that it's like Northern California, right? Because it's wooded, it's
Well,
uh
I I don't know where
could
I
it
don't know where
potentially
that.
be
Go
could it be
ahead, finish.
Maine? Could it be
Hmm?
Maine instead of Northern
No.
California? Like it can't be like the East Coast somewhere?
So there was some image that was released. I don't know where it was, but there's been a lot of like promotional pictures and things coming out over the past several days. And there is this place which is where is this? Okay, it looks like so it said something about the Biosyn headquarters, I think, located it's maybe somewhere in the Caucasus Mountains. Is that how you say that? I don't know. Cau-
I don't know.
Caucasus Mountains. I don't know. And this mountain range is at the intersection of Asia and Europe, stretching between the Black Sea and the Caspian Sea. So let's see. Countries: Armenia, Azerbaijan, Georgia, Iran, Russia, and Turkey. So that would be an interesting place, I guess, to house these. I don't know I don't know anything about this area, to be honest.
That's
But
fair.
maybe it's a place where they could hide or stay in between all of these countries, and maybe it's like off the radar or something like that. I don't know. Um, but it looks a lot like that area based off of what I can see here. So I could definitely see that being where where the thing is. And we did hear from I think it was Entertainment. I almost said Entertainment Earth. No, it was Entertainment Weekly. Posted a bunch of different articles and things like that, and they did say that somewhere in there, Biosyn I think had like the contract or something, the agreement to take these dinosaurs and like maybe do some testing and things like that on them for medical advancements or things going on in the world. And they are basically housing these. So maybe this is where they're housing them. And they have basically these contracts or agreements with different government agencies around the world, like the Department of Fish and Wildlife here in the U.S. to, they're the ones who gather them up and then they ship them off to, maybe this mountain range. Could be interesting.
Okay. Cool.
So a lot of information revealed out there. Nothing I said was, anything you couldn't find elsewhere. So, yeah, that's probably where that location is. But, who knows? Take it with a grain of salt, I guess. But that's just a fun image. We also do have another image here, if I can click the right thing, of Alan Grant
Yeah, that's a cool
It is.
image, man.
It is. It is fantastic. It's very Spielberg. I mean, and
Yeah.
it looks like Indiana Jones. Their silhouette of Indiana Jones showing up for the first
Yeah.
time in like Raiders or something. Now, I think this is a shot from. I'm gonna assume this is like the Amber Mines or something. We keep hearing this reference to the Amber Mines. So I'm guessing that's what this is because you do see minecart tracks. It does look like the entrance to a mine. You look behind him, there is a ladder, and I think that's the same ladder, and it looks like this guy over here is holding the flare, maybe the torch thing that Grant has when he's coming down that ladder in this I think it was in this video here at some point where he was
Oh,
looking at Indiana
I
Jones.
believe
Oh,
you.
there
You
it
don't
is.
gotta. Yeah, there it is. Yeah.
Yeah, wherever it was, wherever it is. But yeah, pretty cool. I love that. That's a cool image there. Very Spielberg, if you ask me. And
Yeah, I think it's cool, man.
yeah, some article or somewhere, Sam Neill I think had mentioned that Colin reminds him a lot of Spielberg. So that's cool to hear. That is pretty cool to hear.
Well, it's funny you say that because like if you I don't know if you follow like the Red Letter Media guys,
No.
they oh really? Okay. They have like some great stuff and they notoriously like nitpick on movies. And when Jurassic World came out, I popped back over there because I was like, I just want to see the hate that they have for this movie. Like, because I remember coming out of Jurassic World with mixed feelings. It really grew on me pretty quick. Um, but the guy who I was expecting him to like hate it, his opinion, he really liked it. And the guy, usually they agree on things. And his partner was like, "Really? Like, what did you like about this movie?" And he's like, "This guy understands Spielberg." He's like, "This movie, while not directed at all by Spielberg, he goes, Spielberg presumably was kind of hands-off producer, like he always is when he's a producer. But he
Yeah.
was like, this guy understands what made Spielberg movies magical in the 80s and 90s. And he goes, when I watch this movie, I feel like it's being directed by Steven Spielberg. And so, like, it's interesting that, like, Sam Neill kind of has that, like, same vibe, like, working with him. Like, I feel like Colin has kind of had his, like, especially with, like, Book of Henry, like, everyone kind of, like,
Oh yeah.
piling on him for that movie. And then, like,
Yeah.
people kind of like rejoicing when he got let go from Star Wars or wasn't doing Star Wars anymore or whatever. But like maybe Colin is kind of found his like maybe Colin's calling is doing some of these like these maybe Colin's calling is to kind of carry that torch of what Amblin is,
Hmm.
you know.
Yeah, that could be.
He's kind of said like he said
It's
over and
kind of
over, like
like
I've heard him
J.J.
say like,
Abrams, but
I mean kind of, but JJ Abrams I don't really know. I don't know where I really stand on JJ Abrams at this point. Like I don't necessarily blame him for what Star Wars 9 was because I feel like a lot of the blame for what that movie is and not that look, I'm not getting in this debate of
Colin's
was it good
fault.
or was it bad. No, I'm not
No,
getting
no,
in the
no.
argument of was 8 or 9 good or bad, but not you have to admit 9 was a reaction to 8. And like
Hmm.
9 was the way it was because 8 didn't do really anything to like push the story along so there was so much ground to cover at the end of 8. It was like you could definitely see that there wasn't a plan. And I will say the one thing I do enjoy about these Jurassic World movies, Trevorrow has had a plan. And
Yeah,
part
I
of the
mean, it seems
plan was
like
to
it.
bring in a different director for the second movie, and that's fine. It's his prerogative to do that.
Yeah.
But they do feel cohesive, which Jurassic Park has never, because of Jurassic Park 3, Jurassic Park has never felt cohesive as a trilogy.
Yeah.
And so it's been nice to see some cohesion come in when I don't feel like, the movies that should have had it were Star Wars, and Star Wars feels more disjointed now than ever because of, like, and it feels it's even worse because, like, Mandalorian is so great, you know? It's like, I don't know. I know you're a
Well,
fan of the new
well, yeah,
stuff, but
we are the red letter media guys in terms of Jurassic World, like you were saying before. Like I love those movies. I get like the criticisms of them, but like I don't care. Like they're fun. And I love, the stuff on Disney Plus too. So I think they've been doing, great stuff. But and you also can't discount the fact that like Carrie Fisher died and that like threw a big wrench into the plans.
yeah,
Like
definitely
that was
threw a
supposed to
wrench
be
into
her
it. I'm
movie.
sure.
So yeah. But where were we? Was that it? That was it. That's it for Jurassic World Dominion. Let's move on to our final topic. I guess I'm just going to bring up this article here from the website JurassicParkPodcast.com. What's his name? Tom. He didn't put his title in the thing here, but Tom Jurassic wrote up a little article. I just wanted to point it out because he's got some pictures in here and things, but this mostly is because of this picture up here on the top, which I already showed off earlier. But I've got this rusted Barbasol can here. That's a promo for Jurassic World Dominion. But we also have this rusted Barbasol can, which it obviously doesn't say Barbasol in it. It looks slightly different, but like it's not too bad. They've done, I think, some good justice.
They did what needed to be done to skirt around licensing and copyright.
Well, yeah. I wonder how much is about the licensing and stuff, because in Camp Cretaceous and the world of Camp Cretaceous, there actually is no like English language, really. It's all just like like weird symbols and things like that. But we got this teaser trailer.
They do that so they don't have to re-render multiple frames of different languages. So like in a lot of kids TV, you'll see like you'll see signs that like are like pictures like representing what a store might be. Or like in the case of Camp Cretaceous, like it's usually just like gibberish written.
Yeah.
Like even I saw the trailer for season 5 and like they go by T-Rex Kingdom. And it's so obviously the text that's supposed to say T-Rex Kingdom, but it's like, it's like minion language.
I think that was like, it wasn't from the 5th season. I think there was at the beginning portion, there was like a bunch of clips from the past seasons. Which I laughed at because it was Entertainment Weekly again. Here was the first look for the season, and they mentioned that like, oh, in this season we get to see the kids. It was like Brooklyn, Kenji, and Darius, I think, in replicating the kitchen sequence from Jurassic Park. I was like, guys, that was season 3. Like that was in season 3. We already saw that. But they pointed it out as something from season 5. I'm like, come on. But
you know what? I've seen them all, and that fooled me. I had no idea.
We do have this Barbasol can, and we've got a lot of questions. This is the biggest question, right? What are we doing? What is this? Whose hands are these? When is this? Does this ruin all of our thoughts and theories for Dominion? Because we have this great theory for Dominion, right? Like that it starts or could open or have a sequence with the Barbasol can. But what does this mean?
It doesn't matter. The can has an established timeline of how long it can last away from cryogenics. Like the can has, what did he say, 72 hours? Is that what it is?
I think it was 36.
There's enough coolant inside for 30. 72 seems really long. For like how fast Nedry was like trying to get to that dock. So like, yeah, it just like the can has an established like expiration date. So like, and it's like, I would assume instantaneous, because when you're keeping something in cryogenic, like freezing temperatures, the second that like it goes below or above a certain degree, it's like all those embryos just become invalid and die. So, I mean,
can you still get DNA from it though? Like the embryos are not viable, but there's DNA in there. Does that matter? Does that factor into anything?
I feel like we're getting into some. Maybe,
hey, this is the Wire, man. This is the Wire. All right, so let's get back to the basics though. What is this picture? So, and what is happening in this season. What do you think is the scenario where somebody's picking up this can?
I don't know, but based off previous seasons, they try really hard to make it like line up with all the movies. So whether or not it is or is not canon is only based on your perception of like, do you like it or do you not like it? Because I don't think they do really anything. Do they do anything that like would disrupt the movies? Usually the movies play more of a role in that story than they play in the role of the story of the movies. Does
Sure,
that make
yeah. I
sense?
mean, it's not like there's little discrepancies. People will jump on anything to say that this is not canon. I know there's a big
Yeah.
collection of people out there that say, "Oh, this is clearly not canon," and to those people, I say, "You're absolutely out of your mind." They consider it canon. That's what they've said, so it is. Right? Isn't that how we think about things? But unfortunately, that's not, I guess, how fandom works. But
I mean,
yes,
like,
there's discrepancies, but I don't think there's anything as big or major as like the Jurassic Park the game where like the T-Rex bursts through the door and then, you know, in Jurassic World we see that the door's fine. Like that never happened. Of the visitor center, by the way. I don't think there's anything major like that, but I think it's like, hey, in Jurassic World, when the kids went into the old visitor center, we don't see this scaffolding or something that's there in Camp Cretaceous season 3, and it's like, yeah, but okay, like, does that not make it canon? I don't know, but
no, like
I get what
a
you mean though, that
a
they
misalignment of the set. Like I feel like you could easily, sure, if it's canon now, I feel like it could easily like be like plucked out of existence and not have no weight on the movies like whatsoever. Whereas like without the
well,
movies,
yeah,
clearly there is no Camp Cretaceous without some of the major plot points from uh the movies, right? Like
yeah. I mean, it would just
I
be
don't
its
know. I'm
own random story, I guess. But
right. I mean,
like, let's say for instance that
are you trying to get me
we
to say something? What are you trying to get me to
No, no,
say?
no. I'm
What do
literally just
you
trying to ask what you're thinking, man. That's all. I just give me a simple response. No,
I think
uh,
I
no,
think
no,
our
no. Wait,
theory
hold on,
I
hold
think
on,
our
hold on.
theory that we came up with is way better than what this could possibly ever be.
Okay, okay. Well, I guess. What I was gonna say is, like, say for instance about the canon, it's like if canon establishes or Camp Cretaceous establishes controllable dinosaurs, and then dinosaurs show up in Dominion as potentially controllable dinosaurs, does that make Camp Cretaceous essential, or with Dominion having a line of like, we put a lot of work into this, but we can now control dinosaurs with a chip? Does that like null and void Camp Cretaceous? Like
I didn't finish season 4, but where I got to, do
spoilers.
wait, you can spoil it. Do they actually control them with chips by the end of
Yeah,
season
man.
4?
Yeah,
Do they?
yeah.
Oh, gross.
No, dude, I am the total opposite. I know a lot of people really despise this because actually, let me see if I can bring it up and see it, and we'll also get your thoughts. We'll go back to the Barbasol can. But there is a moment in the trailer, which I know a lot of people are harping on, that they just, oh my God, what is going on with this? It's just repeating frames. All right, this, I don't know why it's not playing here. Give me 1 second. But it's a
That's fine.
shot of, there we go, of a bunch of
Yeah.
dinosaurs coming up for some reason, mixed in with a bunch of humans. There's a character in the middle, which I don't know if you know, but I won't say. But there's a character in the middle, and then there's some mercenaries, and there's baryonyx, there's Carnotaurus, Spinosaurus. And it seems like, I don't know for sure. I don't know if it's been confirmed anywhere, but it looks like Toro to me from the first 2 seasons or whatever. Looks like
Sure.
Baryonyx Limbo from Nublar. And it's been alluded to that it should be the Spinosaurus from Jurassic Park 3. But, and we do see later on in this trailer at some point that one of the characters is trying to chip the Carnotaurus. And what happens is, spoilers for this fourth season, but there's a storyline where character wants Darius to like chip the Spinosaurus and then chip a Brachiosaurus baby, and it's just painful to watch. Like, it's really painful to watch because like you're seeing a dinosaur move against its will, and you basically like it's horrifying to watch, like to see that happen. And I think that these entire movies have all been about control. Like, since Jurassic Park, that was literally the theme, like, of that movie, is like you never had control. It was all an illusion. And, you know, it was all about control for John Hammond. And then, you know, what's his name? Ludlow's really trying to control things and get, you know, a new place up and running, but he can't control the situation. I don't know about Jurassic Park 3. Maybe Grant's trying to control things with the the whistle.
Is there no, Jurassic Park 3 is just a disaster. Is there science to back this up? Can we control like control like amoebas or something like that? Like I feel like there has been science where
they've been
like,
chipping amoebas for years now, man. Where have you been?
No, but like through electroshock, you can get like single cell organisms to like move or whatever. I don't know. I mean, of course, if you shock something with electric, it's gonna move.
I don't know. I don't know the science behind controlling animals. We know that we, you know, chip animals all the time, you know, for, you know, your pets or whatever to locate or to identify and things like that. And I there was some confirmation in a live stream about like how much we try to control animals, you know, in real life. And I think that's what Jurassic World set up, was like, hey, let's control these animals. Owen, it was literally trying to control them with his clicks and his hand motions and things like that. That was literally what that movie's about. It's like, how can we control these animals to do what we want them to do? And then Fallen Kingdom comes around, and it's like, hey, we can control this Indoraptor with signal and sound and visual, you know, elements with this weapon. And Dominion literally means, the title means control. Like, that's literally what that means. And a control over nature or something like that. So it makes sense to me to naturally progress from just trying to control dinosaurs to literally controlling dinosaurs. And I think that, you know,
when does this come out?
This season comes out July 21st. So after Dominion.
But the events of this take place before Dominion.
Oh yeah, well before Dominion. Yeah, that's the thing. This takes place
it's really
in like 2016 or something like that. Like literally after Jurassic World. Yeah.
If you can chip these dino brains, is it really of any consequence to what's happening in the world in, like, let's say Malta or something? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
because we've seen
this character here that I have with this, you know, Sono Santos. This character here is literally holding what the box says is a controller. So I don't know if it's a controller to open this door or a controller.
No, you're not making an accessory. You're not making that accessory for a remote for the door. Like, that's not.
No, I don't think so. But you never know. I don't know. But I think these Atrociraptors are going to be controlled dinosaurs, that they took Owen's studies and Owen's creations, progressed it to a point where now we don't need that anymore. That's the old school way of doing things. It's like Back to the Future 2, where Elijah Wood comes into the cafe and is like, you have to use your hands? It's like a baby's toy, you know, when he plays that gun game. But, you know, now it's like, Owen doesn't need to use his hands anymore. That's the baby's way of doing things. We have this thing that's in her hand. That's a controller. And we can bring these Atrociraptors into the arena and just like let them loose and try to track down some humans or whoever. So I think this show is going to play a big role in, you know, giving that control to Dominion and releasing it. And I think I don't know. I think that could be the big tie that they've alluded to for ages now about how Camp Cretaceous ties into Jurassic World Dominion. So I think we're on that path. I hope they have the nerve to do it.
Maybe this is like, at the end of this, they're like, get this over to Dotson, or get the, the tech works, call the boss or something, I don't know.
Yep. And we have seen this tech upgrade. So in season 4, the guy is using he's literally doing this for the first time, and he's using a tablet. And in this scene, it almost looks like they've got like Xbox controllers or something, like PlayStation controllers in their hands. I don't know. Yeah. And I could, and there were, you probably saw it at some point, but they were also trying to make the dinosaurs battle each other in season 4. So
that's where I was at, was like, they were going to be like doing these battle things by forcing these animals to be in close quarters, which there is a scene in one of the TV spots or trailers where you see they're it's like the chicken fight pit, but it's like a small baryonyx and a small carnotaur. At least they looked small, and he's got that robot hand.
That was from the EW article, I think. That picture.
Can we control animal minds? The truth is, the ability to control another organism with your mind is pretty amazing. No, that's not what I asked you, Google. Remote control animal?
No, that'll just bring up a dog that barks and does flips or something like that.
Oh, no. Here we go. This is real. All right, Wikipedia. If it's on Wikipedia, it must be true. Remote control animals are animals that are controlled remotely by humans. Some applications require electrodes to be implanted in the animal's nervous system, connected to a receiver, which is usually carried on the animal's back. The animals are controlled by the use of radio signals. The electrodes do not move the animal directly as if controlling a robot. Rather, they signal a direction or action desired by the human operator and then stimulate the animal's reward centers if the animal complies. These are sometimes called biorobotics or bio. All right, it keeps going, and there's an image of a rat with okay, so this is real.
Oh yeah. I did see that rat. And look, cool. Here's the thing: is you asked when does this show take place? Like I said, Jurassic World happened. That's when the kids got lost in on the island, and then it was something 6 months went by, because that's what they established. That's when the beginning of Fallen Kingdom takes place. Right? 6 months later. And then the 4th season is only days after that or whatever. So, we're only 6 months after Jurassic World. And this tech apparently exists out there in the world back then. So Jurassic World and Jurassic Park, even it's always been a step ahead, technology wise. I remember back in '93, it's whoa, interactive CD-ROMs? What is that? I don't know what that is, as a kid. And Jurassic World has holograms and, gyrospheres and interesting things like that. So why not? Why not have the tech a little bit ahead of us? Those copters or whatever they are, those quadcopter looking things that are in Jurassic World Dominion. I don't know if that's real, but it looks super futuristic. And we've got that Apple headquarters and, so there's a lot of things going on in this movie that could be ahead of our time. So I'm okay with them taking some liberties and maybe we're not there yet. We've got some rat that could maybe, be controlled with a vibration or something like that. But I think I'm willing to cut them some slack and say yeah, they could do it, in the Jurassic World timeline.
I'm not saying the science needs to be 1-to-1. I'm saying I need some sort of real world counterpart. And if the real world counterpart is we can tell a rat where to go because we're stimulating its basically its reward center in its brain to go this way and do this thing, then I guess I'm kind of okay with this leap in tech. It's not super ideal because I think it's kind of corny, but it's not it's not it's not so unrealistic.
I continued scrolling here. And here's the one for dogs, right? Dogs are often used in disaster relief, at crime scenes, and on battlefields. So literally, that is what Jurassic World was trying to do, was take velociraptors into battlefields. But it's not always
Yeah.
easy for them to hear the commands of their handlers. A command module, which contains a microprocessor, wireless radio, GPS receiver, and an attitude and heading reference system, can be fitted for dogs. The command module delivers vibrations or sound commands to the dog to guide it in certain directions or to perform certain actions. The overall success rate of the control system is 86.6%. That's wild.
I mean, and dogs are much smarter than duck, and there's
Than
this
dinosaurs?
non-invasive. I'm looking at this non-invasive method. Researchers at Harvard University have created brain-to-brain interface between humans and some kind of rat. Simply by thinking the appropriate thought, the BBI allows the human to control the rat's tail. All right, you know what? Fine, you got me, Camp Cretaceous. You're legitimate.
See,
All right,
this is
fine.
This is what we needed. I think this is the conversation that everybody needed, right? Like we had to get to the bottom of this. And
dude, we're doing this with so many animals: mice, rats, dogs, cockroaches, beetles, fish, turtles, geckos, pigeons.
dog, fish, sharks. Like what?
Surely we can do dinosaurs. Okay, fine.
Yeah,
all right.
I'm down for it. And if you get to that moment in season 4 and you see it being used on a baby Brachiosaurus, it was brutal. Like I was like, this is in a kid show. This is scary. Like to see
I'll get there. Now
like,
I'm
basically,
actually
like,
interested.
the tears running down this dinosaur's eyes as it's fighting against the commands. Like it does not want to do the commands. And to see them maybe perfect that, obviously we've got a dinosaur lineup here of dinosaurs ready to go into battle or whatever they're doing. I don't know. They're probably like, go find those kids, track them down, and go eat them.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting. So I'm in. I'm totally in, and I would love to see that be utilized in Jurassic World Dominion. I really hope so. But let's continue on with those ties. Let's go back for a second to that Barbasol can. We didn't really get to the bottom of this. You think our approach with just to remind everybody that hasn't heard, but you've definitely probably heard, but we've talked about an opening sequence or something like that basically shows the meeting between Dodgson and Nedry at the cafe. And I've loved this idea of like Dr. Wu sitting very close by and hearing this conversation, right? And being like, Nedry's going to fail. He's not going to do this. He's thinking this in his own head. So when Nedry leaves that meeting, he goes over to Dodgson and is like, Dodgson, look, I'm your guy. Like, forget about Nedry. I know you just paid him $750,000, but or whatever. I'm gonna follow up and I'm gonna make sure he gets the Barbasol can back to you because I don't think he's gonna be able to do it. So he's like, okay, all right, I'll cut you in. And then the movie continues. We know what happens in Jurassic Park. Dennis Nedry dies. The canister falls into the mud. But we don't know what happened to Henry Wu, right? And I think this is a good explanation because we want to know why Henry Wu is maybe nefarious or evil, in quotes, in these Jurassic World movies or misguided. I think this is a good way to tie it into Dodgson, to show us who Dodgson is, remind everybody about that sequence in Jurassic Park that took place, show us the Barbasol can, show us Nedry, show us all that good stuff, and talk about why Henry Wu might be a little on the bad side of history, because he's been maybe on the bad side since the beginning. That would be pretty interesting to me. Now, I know a lot of people don't want that, but it would also give us this opportunity to see Henry Wu follow up, pick up the canister with his hands, and say, I got it. I can do this. Let's get it back to Dodgson. And I always thought like maybe Dodgson and Wu would fail with their science, which would lead us to Jurassic World, Fallen Kingdom, and then Dominion.
I've been thinking about this like Wu thing a little bit more, and like you really get a sense of it in Jurassic World, but like what if we get some kind of establishment that like Wu was not happy that his creation was just being used as like an amusement park attraction. Like what if that wasn't and I don't think they need to
Yeah.
cover this in the movie or anything, but like, what if that wasn't the pitch that John Hammond had given him? Like, what if there was something greater that John Hammond was going to do? Although I kind of don't think so, because John Hammond was always about entertainment, like always.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I know.
Maybe
That's why the whole Dr. Hammond making the dinosaurs thing doesn't really sit totally well with me. It's like he was the entertainment guy. But I think you're onto something, because that just like makes us even better of a theory. It's like there's a reason behind him, like, the same reason that Dennis Nedry was like, I'm underpaid, I'm not, appreciated. I'm not appreciated in my time, whatever he says.
yeah.
And I think the same could be said about Dr. Wu. It's like, you're right. I don't think he would want his creations to be used as theme park attractions. I think he would have grander, ideas in
Even if
store.
that's like was even the initial intention, right? Like, hey, I want you to make dinosaurs, and like that's intriguing enough. But like as time goes on, like over the years, and you've created some species, and like you see, like wouldn't your reactions be like, oh, this is such a waste of my creation? Like,
Hmm.
really, this guy's just gonna lock him up on like and charge people $50 to like come see these
Yeah.
things? Like
Yeah.
that just seems like such a waste,
I could definitely see Dr. Wu being somebody who was maybe wooed by Dodgson or Biosyn early on before his career with Jurassic Park, and being like, like, I know that guy. I know what he's up to. Like, you know, I've thought about it before, but then John Hammond's like, here's way more money or something like that to do this project. So I could see them already knowing each other, and then we do see that Wu is very sad and upset, and he has to fix some mistakes. He said that in maybe the featurette, I think. So yeah, I think there's a chance that this could be Dr. Wu back in 93 or something like that, or 94. I know it's rusted, and we do know that these cans can rust pretty quickly. Everybody has one in the shower at some point, and it's rusted the bottom. And how long was that? Of course, it was longer than 36 hours, but I don't know, man. I
Yeah,
feel like this could dispel our
I'm
theory
gonna
a little bit,
be
but
I'm gonna be really disappointed if the timeline of the canister just gets ignored,
mm-hmm.
because I feel like that is an important note to the MacGuffin of that movie, that like, look, this canister has to be found within 36 hours, and it has to get to cold storage with it. Like there is an immediate not that's not the right word. That's not
Immediacy.
even a word. There is like an immediacy to like need to have this canister not get lost, because if the canister gets lost, it's going to be like we can't succeed with the mission, because the time is of the essence. So I do hope that whoever finds this can, because we know the can comes back in Dominion, we've seen it in photos, right?
Well, I mean, we know
Or
that they
someone,
sent it out there at some point, but to what degree that it
right?
actually plays into the movie, I don't know. Who knows?
Okay, we know that like they were using it for reference for something. At least it was like, hey, we need to see the
Yeah,
can
yeah.
or something like that. We need to have it on set or something. And so like we know that the can plays a role, but again, if it's just like they
Well, yeah. I
loosely
mean,
forget, just like they forget between the Lost World and Jurassic Park 3 where the big dinosaurs live on the island, like, or the most like there's a complete switch as to where carnivores or dangerous dinosaurs live between the Lost World and Jurassic Park 3. And like it's so bothersome as a fan. Like this would be on that same level for me, where it's like, dude, no, the can has a time limit. Like whatever story you have to tell within the time frame of 36 hours, you know.
yeah, I agree. I don't know if this thing can rust under mud for 36 hours. Maybe. I don't know. But it does seem like it has to play a role into Dominion because of this, this advertisement. Why would they make this if it didn't play a role into that movie? Like, why would they
They
make a
did something
rusted
similar for
can?
Fallen Kingdom.
They made a rusted one?
No, I mean Barbasol for the last I think two movies has
I
just
think
put dinosaurs on their
Yeah, I think for
cans
Fallen
for.
Kingdom, I have them over there. There's Blue, and I think the Indoraptor. I don't know if there were others. I think maybe just those two. But yeah, I think they usually just do dinosaurs on there. But this time we literally get this can that we see here in Camp Cretaceous, and it doesn't say Camp
You're saying the
Cretaceous on it.
rust. Okay.
It has the Jurassic World Dominion logo and the rusted can. Like it is rusted, fully rusted on here. So like how it has to tie
All
into
right.
Dominion. It has to tie into Camp Cretaceous. Is there a chance that like we do get a thing because the Dominion movie comes out first? Maybe we get to see a portion of a flashback, and then maybe the flashback picks up here. Or if this completely dispels everything and this is found in 2016, that, like you said, that is extremely unfulfilling and upsetting because, like we said, there are so many stories to tell, or at least a story to tell here that follows up like Jurassic Park the game, or like how they followed it up pretty quickly there. There is a story to tell there. And if you pick this can up in 2016, you ignore everything. And based off that last the video, right, that has, well, it's not going to load now for some reason, but it showed the dinosaurs here, Toro and Limbo or whoever that was. Those are Nublar dinosaurs. And we also do see at some point in this trailer that there's somebody stepping off of a boat, which most likely is Darius's brother, Brand, stepping off of a boat onto... I can't find it here. For some reason, it's not loading. Maybe my internet's terrible. Who knows? But, yeah, that's just literally not even playing at all. So we know that... well, I guess we know, but Aaron might not know. There might be somebody coming to look for them. And it does look like his
That's
brother,
fine.
Darius's brother, is on the way. It's not even loading for some reason. But
Didn't like I feel like that was the end of season 3, right? The end of season 3 was like Darius's brother was like, oh, he's alive or something.
Oh, was it season 3? I thought it was season 4. No, it was season 4.
I think I saw that.
Okay, well, yeah, because a call goes through to his brother, and his brother picks up for like a second and a half, and he's like, Darius, he's alive? So the first thing the brother would do would be to go to Nublar, right? I don't think he's triangulating a signal here to go to some random island, Manticore Island. I think he's going to go straight to Nublar because that's the last place he knows his brother was. So he shows up on Nublar. We also have these guys taking dinosaurs, which seemingly taking them off of Nublar. We do see a ship in this teaser trailer that looks like it has these automated vehicles leaving the ship, probably with, it's like big vehicles that look kind of like this thing, just like going off the ship and onto the island, which is most likely Manticore Island, just transporting them from Nublar to Manticore. And so there's a chance that somebody goes to Nublar and finds this can, which would be very disappointing to me. That would just be so upsetting. And if Dominion says otherwise, and maybe that's the point in time where Canon is gone, that could be the point in time. Maybe these two things don't work together. But for now, we have to wait and see. But I'm going to assume they tie together. So I don't know.
The only saving grace we have, because this is the saving grace we have for the films, is that the can was Spielberg's initial way to fuel the sequel. He has admitted this.
Yep.
Which means he has a story in mind for what was going to happen for Jurassic Park 2, regardless of Crichton. He had an idea. And I'm wondering if we maybe see the spark of that idea, and if Spielberg went to the trouble to be like, look, the can has 36 hours. He knew this. He was part of the writing process. So Spielberg knew the can had to be retrieved within 36 hours or whatever the time frame was.
I guess, yeah.
So I feel like hopefully it's Spielberg was like, "No, if they just ignore the time frame, I'm going to be super bummed." And I agree with you. It's if they go to the Nublar and they find this, it's going to be so disappointing. But whatever.
Yeah, you're right. You're right about Spielberg. Hopefully he has he put that idea out there into Colin's head. I love the story that, like, yeah, he obviously laid this as a sequel idea, and then he's like, hey, Michael, can you write a sequel to this movie or to this story? And then Michael writes
And
a
Michael
story.
Crichton ignores it.
He ignores that, right? He ignores that portion. He just he makes his sequel, and then Steven makes the movie, which also ignores the book. So it's like this big circle of ignoring everything.
Okay, but I mean, I know you're in the middle of the book club or you finished the book club, but
No,
like, come on, he does
finished
not
yeah.
ignore.
He
does
come
not
on.
ignore the book. I mean,
oh, there's so much that is completely different. There are spurts of like things that tie in to the movie, but like there's so much that's different. And
yeah, there really is. There really is a totally different.
But yeah,
but that's okay. That means we get cool things. Like so much of what we've gotten in the Jurassic World trilogy is stuff that got scrapped from the Lost World.
Yeah,
or the motorcycle raptor sequence.
Mm-hmm.
The motorcycle raptor sequence for one. Like that's definitely a Lost World sequence. That actually was going to be in the movie and they scrapped it.
Imagine there's a sequence in this. We've seen Maisie, right, in some sort of cage, which I don't know what it is or anything, but like imagine it's like that Arby sequence where like he's getting, which I never really understood. How is he getting dragged by like a raptor in this cage? Like, I don't know. I don't really understand it, but like I'm like reading it like I don't get it, but like, okay, I'm visualizing it, I guess. But imagine that comes to life like in Dominion as like she's getting like, taken around in this cage, like just like that. That would be crazy. But for real, the one thing from the books I want to cross over, and I've said this a bunch, but I want Grant to poison those Atrociraptors with eggs. He has to poison. He has to, right? Like, he has to do it.
How can we go 6 movies and not get Alan Grant poisoning eggs to kill raptors, basically?
And like, you're talking about controllable dinosaurs that like...
Dude, it's set up. He's at a lab. There's got to be some eggs there.
I know.
Well, no, in Malta, we don't know. But like, still, like...
The thing is, we don't see any indication that Atrociraptors make it to this biosyn location where this lab is or whatever. Yeah. But like, it does, like, the formula fits, and maybe there's a portion where they die off. Like, I would just love to see that so much. I really hope that happens, but probably be disappointed. But that is a big moment where I'm like reading the book, doing the book club over the past 2 books. It's like that is the one moment that stood out the most to me of something I want to see crossed over.
Yeah.
But yeah, is there anything else? Not too much else from this teaser, but the big thing is this can, and I hope they don't do us wrong here.
I hope so too. I don't know how you want to do this, but just check your Slack. I sent you a link to something. If you don't want to talk about it this week, we don't have to. But I forgot about this, and I didn't know if you cared.
No, that's okay. We can skip that.
We'll talk about it another time or skip it. But yeah, I mean, I'm actually more intrigued to finish season 4 now than I have been.
I hope.
So
I hope I talked you into it a little bit. I mean, look, I get it that it's not everybody's thing, but like, it's technically it is a kids show, but I think they do make it available to everybody out there that wants to enjoy it. Yeah, you have to like suspend some, belief a little bit when you see Ben riding a dinosaur, but I don't know. There's little things here and there that you have to suspend your disbelief, whatever that phrase is. Suspend your disbelief.
I think what
or whatever.
You said. Oh, I hit something on Facebook, and now Facebook Messenger is like copying my text. No, so like I think like what you said earlier about Ian or whatever, or Grant being like, "Is that a raptor on your back?" Like we're bringing together 2 completely different eras of Jurassic, where it's like the fantastical is, or like there's no reason to think that like if you were camping, right, and your dog like maybe like broke its leg or something, there's no reason to think that you couldn't figure out a way to strap it to your back and take
Yeah,
it
yeah.
with you to like choose civilization and like help it,
Yeah.
you know,
But
get
like,
fixed.
yeah, the fact is like you have these two different like mindsets coming at something, and I love that like that clash right there. It's like it's so funny to me to see like these two things battling each other. Ian's just like, I would never do anything like that. They brought it into a trailer once, and I was like, no, what are you doing? No.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I love this, these two things. But that's a good metaphor for like the movies and Camp Cretaceous. It's like two things coming together that maybe clash at times, but don't necessarily say like, this isn't canon or this is canon. It just works together. I think it works together. And we have to stop being so like hardened about canon, what is and what isn't. Just like have fun with it, man. Like I don't really care at this point what works or doesn't, Like
right.
we're at the end of the saga here, I just want to enjoy and have a good time. So, yeah, but I think that about wraps it up for our conversation here for the Jurassic Wire for what month is it? April.
April,
Because it's at the end of the month.
right?
We get 1 week of April, we get the April conversation. But thank you so much. This has been a long one. We did get through it though. 2.5 hours. We did a decent job with all these topics.
Yeah, that's a short wire. That's a short wire.